Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Jupiter's Crock here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. Ronan really wants engagement, so everybody, please post a comment down below. Who's your favorite
What
gladiator?
one like is one pet for Frankie.
And he needs
Yes,
them.
yes. Like and subscribe. Spread cheek and ram like button, straight up
But
ass, whatever.
also do what Matt said and post your favorite gladiator, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, post your favorite gladiator. We are talking every Friday night here, House of Ashur. We are super excited. If you listened to our last episode, we talked about the first two. It was sort of a 2 episode premiere. We thought it was fantastic. Will the goodwill and the good feelings continue into episode 3 titled Unworthy? We shall find out. Steve, how are you feeling going into episode 3?
I'm excited. I loved it. I wish this was a series that had just dropped all of it from the beginning. I am a binge watcher. I hate watching week to week, but I'm making the sacrifice for this. If this entire series was available now, I would have watched it probably twice by now.
Yeah. How did we ever get by back in the day when we had to wait? I like the dark times. Yes, the before.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. I actually think it's kind of cool to have to wait.
Heresy.
The one show that really sort of cemented how cool that was. It takes a special show to be able to do that. Was the first season of True Detective. I don't know if either one of you ever watched it. Steve is frozen.
I was quite curious. It was just my end that he was frozen on.
He's just holding a
Forever.
can of alcohol or a
Steve,
can
are
of
you
alcohol,
there?
whatever. Steve?
Steve?
Did we lose Steve? Okay.
I think we did. We might have to. We're restarting this one.
Hold on. So I will just go ahead and finish up my thought, and then we'll add Steve in here in a second. Oh, I just got a text. I think. Let's see. Is this Steve?
No, he's gone. It's just you on the screen. Oh, there he is.
I'm back again.
Okay, Steve's back. Steve's back.
Yay.
We're still recording.
The Magnetoing continues. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys, and all of a sudden, blue screen. We've encountered fatal error.
In fairness, this is now Steve Nito. I don't know. We're going to have to come up with a new word for it.
Look, it sucks. I understand what Matt's been going through his entire life.
Yes.
The last 2 weeks, which have been just as bad as Matt's entire life.
It's awful.
That tracks.
Okay. Anyway, back to my comment here. True Detective. I remember watching that week to week, and all of the artwork and the crazy stuff that occurred with people just like, what could possibly happen? I kind of like the discourse and the excitement around it, but you got to have a good show for that to matter. So I'll slightly disagree with you. I kind of like the week to week and sort of playing out, teasing out in my mind what might be
Heresy.
going on.
No, yeah, I don't like surprises. I want to get to the end as fast as I can.
Leave a comment down below, folks. Do you prefer week to week? Do you prefer to binge watch your gladiator shows? We need that engagement.
Invincible does the same shit, and you know what? I'm fucking fed up with it. We shouldn't have to stand for this anymore.
Yeah, that's for Invincible. I wait till it's over, and then I will binge watch it.
Oh god. Okay, you froze for a second.
What?
You froze for just a second.
Lies.
Yeah, Steve's audio or his video on my end is very pixelated, so I don't know what's going on with the Steve internet connection over there. But regardless, he's here. We're going to talk. I missed you, Ronan. What were your thoughts going into this? Were you excited? Were you just kind of
Well, yeah, like you mean for the whole show or this episode?
This episode.
For this episode, yeah, we are now at the point where when this episode ended, I was like, God damn it! Why isn't there another one? Fucking fuck! But like on a somewhat side tangent, getting us further into the discussion, I actually rewatched episode 2 because I needed more information, and so yes, thank you, puppy. So when I rewatched it. Well, one thing we actually, we haven't gotten to the episode 3 yet, but one of the things I was trying to figure out when I was rewatching episode 2, they answer in this episode, and we'll get into that in a second. But the other thing was, I'm soured on that episode a little. It still kind of balances out because now we have information, but on rewatching that episode, the second episode, the Appian Way stuff just like it lost all of the member berry effect that made you go, oh look, oh, that's that, and then it just kind of becomes, wait a minute, there was no fucking story reason whatsoever for this scene to happen. You could have rewrote this any way. Like, it was on the Appian way purely to show us clips of Gannicus and for us to say, "Oh, isn't that like I miss it?" Nothing
Well,
else was really gained of any importance on that scene. So I
to be
soured
fair,
on it.
to be fair, do you think it was important for the creators to be like, look, if we don't show that Gannicus is dead, they're going to expect Gannicus to show up at some point during this, and just have that hard cut off. Be like, look, we got to show him dead. We gotta let the audience expectations like die on that aspect there, die on that cross with Gannicus, and then we can move forward with the story. Or
I don't think so. I don't think it was necessary just so that way. Oh, I'm so glad we showed the audience that Gannicus is dead. Ignoring the fact that two main gladiators are still alive and well, and that, like, when we know very
goddamn
well that.
Agron.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Agron. We know that two of them. Well, actually, technically, it's only one gladiator. The other one wasn't. You get the point. We know two
Right.
main fighting characters from the last show are alive and well, and they hint at Spartacus and like possibly still being alive. And all I can say is, no, don't you fucking
Yeah,
do it.
I don't want the show to reveal that
You
Spartacus
can
is
bring
alive.
Agron back, and that at least
We can.
makes sense.
We'll
But
bring
Yeah.
him back.
Do you think that the Appian Way scene is going to be paid off in any way later? 'Cause I agree with you. They did it just to show Gannicus is dead, but in storyline, he was commanded to do it by Caesar.
By
So do you think
Caesar.
they're
Yeah.
actually going to pay that off later? Like Caesar's going to show up and it's like, ha ha ha, Ashur, you had to be my bitch.
well, we know Caesar shows up because he's in the trailer. So to a certain extent, yeah, we know Caesar will become an active player in the show. I don't know if he's just a bit player. He shows up for one episode and then fucks right off, or if he becomes kind of an important bit player for several episodes. He's not here yet. Spoiler. But it is possible because one of the other questions I had gets answered in episode 3. So this show is still ongoing. Only 3 episodes as of this recording, and this is going to go up fairly soon. Like, the show is not done airing, so it is possible that
Yeah.
something can come from this. So it's like, I can't be too hard on it because I went into it to get to try and figure out 2 things that we missed. And also, I have forgotten the character's name, but the daughter character, they do, yeah, because we were like, well, who was it again? They never name her husband, not yet, but yeah, he was killed, but in some point in the Spartacus raid. It's unknown, unnamed, at what time, what place, but Spartacus and the rebels did kill her husband at some point or another. We were a little iffy on, did that happen? Didn't that happen? But yeah, that's what he still is unnamed. I don't know if he's actually, like, it turns out it was such and such.
I
Don't
wonder
know
if they'll
that.
do that.
Yeah.
Like, here's another. This was a
Well,
gladiator that she knew about. Like, this
I
is.
mean, the real mind fuck would be if it turns out like Ashur actually killed her husband.
Oh, there
You
you
know
go.
what? Yeah, they could, but like there was a little bit to be gained from that Appian Way theme because it also does kind of go to show, one, that everyone in the House of Ashur sucks. Ashur is just a real shitty Dominus. He's a real shitty Lannister. Well, like God, I just forgot his name. Cora
Chorus.
is not a good Del Torre. Nobody has any control over any of. Del Toro. Yeah,
Doctore.
yeah,
Doctore.
nobody has any control, and Steve is frozen again.
Yeah, Steve keeps freezing like every 5 seconds. He like will just smile and just freeze and then
I mean,
come
I
back.
can reset again and come back.
No,
Like,
No.
this is gold
that's
for
fine.
those.
Yeah,
I want to point out.
gold.
I want to thank all the people who watched our first episode and gave us a bunch of watch hours on it. Just please leave a comment for Ronan. He needs the comments. He needs the engagement. But let's dive into episode 3, Unworthy. Now I do have a couple issues that I'm having with the show that I'll discuss as we go through. But let's turn it over to Ploticus himself. Hopefully he doesn't freeze up. But how do we start episode 3, Unworthy?
we start with everyone's pissed at everyone else. Ashur is pissed at the senator from the last episode for shitting on him. He's pissed at Chorus for Chorus almost killing Achillea. Chorus is pissed at Ashur because Ashur seems to constantly forget that Chorus is a free man, doesn't have to put up with any of this shit.
Yeah.
But of course he does. So they have a back and forth because Ashur is just angry about everything, but he's like, you almost killed, Achillea, my prized possession. Like, what stopped you? And he says, well, I found her worthy. She cut my face. She's the only one to ever draw blood. And Ashur's like, all right, well, let's see if you're worthy because I've got a secret mission for you. And so we cut to down in the Ludus. The gladiators are battling, and Chorus comes over. He's like, hey, Daddy Gladiator. I got to go run an errand. So you, Daddy Gladiator, are the new are the new Doctore. Yeah, Daddy Gladiator. Not all of that. That feels like it's going to be a lingering problem. This copy pasted gladiator group that I don't care about.
We can
This was one
refer
of my.
can
Oh, sorry,
can
go
we
ahead.
settle on referring to him as Daddiator? Because we need a name for him.
Gladiator.
I was
Okay.
thinking Daddiator. That's what I was thinking when I was watching. I was okay. Yeah, he's the Daddiator now. All right. He
Was
actually seemed to be better at it than Korra because he got those motherfuckers to stop and listen to him. Something that currently Korra has no ability to do. So
Well,
yeah.
here's my problem, right? Okay, so this is one of the problems I had, and Gladiator is going to be one of the main things going forward. I think is now was this the sequence, the scene where he starts talking about like all of the cool stuff he's done in the past? Like
That's
I
It,
beat
it
somewhat
this
happens
later
person.
very
on.
close to it. Yeah, it's very
Okay,
Yeah.
close.
somewhere around there. At some point in this episode, he's like, I beat this person who was a previous champion of this house, and I beat this person. I'm like, what? Who the hell are you? Like, what's the timeline here? Was this dude here when Spartacus was
No,
there?
no. They said
Well,
like
like,
in a previous episode he's talking about shit he did like 20 years ago.
okay, so
Yeah.
he
He's an
just
older
happened.
gladiator.
He happened to be purchased by Ashur
Yeah.
after Spartacus had
Yes.
died. Okay, because I'm just like, who is this guy? We have not established that he's this great gladiator at all, at least for the first two episodes. And suddenly, I'm supposed to buy he's this badass
I don't know
gladiator.
that you're supposed to buy that because
Yeah.
Asher doesn't buy it. I think all of these gladiators think they're hot shit and they're clearly not. I don't think you're supposed to buy that he's a badass.
I need a badass in this show.
It's
Like,
Asher.
Yeah,
well,
Asher is
technically,
the
yeah,
badass.
it is. Yeah, sure. But I mean, like in terms of like the cut and paste gladiators that are there that we all can't stand so far, I need someone to stand out, and Gladiator ain't it thus far, for
Yeah,
sure.
agreed. I think it's good. I feel like maybe they're setting up Kid Gladiator, but I'm not sure. I still don't know any of these people's names. Like the gladiator that is just not listening and not taking anyone's shit, then Gladiator has to step in. His name was Arado. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm just slowly getting these names.
I'm like,
Uh,
how is he different than the gladiator in episode 1 or whatever, who was
he's
like
not. All of these
exactly the same haircut, same everything.
all of these gladiators are useless. But there is a scene. I mean, these gladiators are not important at this point. There's a scene later on where Arado is picking a fight with Kid Gladiator and just not listening to the Doctore. And Doctore like beats him down and starts going on about I killed this guy and I killed that guy and I killed this other guy. And Asher's like, yes, listen to words. And one day you too can talk about fated glory.
Yeah, I was. That was
He's
a
got
that was a nice
sad
little
look on his
backhanded compliment.
Yeah, for because that's I think the gladiators are having a problem with their honor. They're like, yo, the house of Asher, is being dishonored by this woman being here, and so they're like, the honor of the house is supposed to be the most important thing, and there is no honor, so they're all disgruntled and whatnot. They continue to not matter for another episode. I mean, is there any part of the gladiators that matter that we need to talk about? Because I was just going to mention, hey, Chorus left, and then Daddy Gladiator has a moment, and that's all I was going to talk about him.
I was kind of like, I was starting to get on board with Gladiator because, like, okay, he got these motherfuckers to actually step in line and listen. Because as much as we like Korra, he has not been able to get these guys to do that. And like, at least Gladiator was actually able to get them to shut the fuck up, step in line, listen. Like, like Animaeus would have never taken any of this shit, but like all of these problems, which I think is what the show is kind of building towards in the background, is that all of these problems stem from Ashur because Ashur was a good schemer but has no idea how to do any of this shit on his own. That wasn't that like Badiatus was never teaching him any of this sort of stuff. So, but I think, like, as this episode goes on, he's starting to figure out a couple of things like that. Like, okay, well, I need to, because he has a moment later on that is reminiscent of stuff that Badiatus would do, or that like Daddiatus, Badiatus's dad, would do in flashbacks too. It was mentioned in the second episode when he goes to have a meeting with the senator guy, how, because he keeps calling to his referring to his gladiators as stock, and the senator guy does mention to him, it's like, do you not find any worth in your men? You keep referring to them like they're just like, common like animals, and like, that doesn't seem very becoming of a Lemeister. And he's like, he's right. Yeah, that's why he's failing, and that's why nobody's listening to anything. All of that shit starts at the top. So, like, at least that's 3 episodes of like consistent. He sucks at this, and that's kind of filtering down. I don't know if the show is still going on. I don't know if it's going to pay off.
I disagree that they're not listening to Chorus, because I think Chorus is the only person in the House of Ashur right now that has any respect from anyone. Like, when Chorus tells everyone, I find Achillea worthy, none of you fuckers were ever able to get any blood out of me, leave her the fuck alone. Like, they leave her the fuck alone. They're still angry and upset, but they listen to him.
They haven't tried any more of that word that we can't, that YouTube doesn't want us to say, even though
Stay
even
away
though
from the word.
yeah, our channel is so small, we could definitely say it and be fine. But we're not going to test it.
We're just going to move on. The copy paste gladiators continue to not matter.
Yeah.
There's multiple like stories going on here. I'll probably cover them all separately. One is Hilara, like the main house slave that Ashur fucks all the time. Ashur is upset that Achillea is not living up to his expectations. And Hilara casually mentions, like, I went and talked to her in the Ludus, the thing that I wasn't supposed to do. And Ashur's like, the fuck you what? But he hears her out, and Hilara says, she's like, she has like a mental block. Like, there's something going on in her head that's preventing her from doing this, from ascending.
The scars on her
hand. Yes, she has scars on her hand. She's drawing the gods from her religion on her cell walls. And so Ashur dresses up in his gladiator gear and goes and fights her to test her. And they have a back and forth that I liked, where she's like, well, first of all, he gets rid of the shield. She's like, what manner of fighting did you do when you actually drew blood from Chorus? And she says, I had a sword and a torch. He's like, oh, you want 2 swords? Like Spartacus? And make sure everyone hears him say
that. Remember Spartacus? Remember that guy?
Remember him?
Yeah. So she finally gets rid of the shield, and she's got dual swords now. But Ashur still beats her, and Ashur keeps asking her, why do you fail? Why do you fail? Why do you fail? And so she refuses to answer the first time. Later on, Ashur goes out there again, and he beats her down again, and she says, why do you fail? And then she yells, because I'm unworthy, the title of the episode. We still don't know her backstory, but there are scenes of her, like, as a child being dragged away by people. There was some sort of duty that she had, some sort of job that she was unable to accomplish because she was, I'm assuming, kidnapped and sold into slavery. And so that's holding her back. And I was real worried for a second that they were just going to rehash the plot points of Spartacus. Because, in Spartacus is also plagued by things in the past, and Badiatus is going to help him get his wife back. And so I saw this moment between Achillea and Ashur. I was like, no, I don't want Ashur to promise to help her accomplish this task in in return, Achilles is going to become the greatest gladiator. Like, I don't want the Force Awakens, but Spartacus version, where it's just like the previous plot points, but slightly different. And to the show's credit, they didn't do that. Ashur's just like, fuck your past. Your past is fucking stupid. Let's move on together. And yeah, they bond on that. And so, like, now going forward, Achilles is actually going to ignore her past, which is apparently is going to allow her to be a good gladiator, I guess. Anything
Maybe.
else about? Oh, she's gonna try. Like, that's what the show's getting at. Like, the thing that was holding her back is she's now starting to move past it. So, anything else about the Kilia that we need to touch on?
Well, like this was what I was mentioning earlier when I was like, Ashur is starting to catch on that there are things that he needs. He has, like, the dominus of the house has to do to motivate his gladiators, to build, like, the honor of the house. Because that's why now, like, obviously Badiatus and Daddiatus would have never, ever in their wildest dreams went down there with a sword and a shield and said, come on, let's have at it. But Ashur is, different. So he is actually able to, and this is his version of, like, that kind of, okay, how can I connect? Apparently I have to form some kind of a bond with you motherfuckers. But it's very much like in Pokemon, how you have to form a bond with your critters before they will hit level 16 and turn into the next form.
That Ronan is referring to human beings as critters. Human slaves are now critters, according to Ronan.
Oh,
they're slaves. They're not real people. Come on now.
Well, we just lost all of those people who had subscribed.
Did we lose them, or did we get them all back? But this is his version of, like, forming that bond, because in the previous shows you saw Daddiatus do it with Oenomaus in a flashback, and you see Badiatus doing it with Spartacus. Like, okay, I have to find a way to channel that potential into something. I was like, okay, he's starting to piece together that there's things he has to do, and it's not just all Korra.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're getting into this later or you're finishing the Achilles sort of plot now, but later on, he actually, gives the mark of the Brotherhood to her. And I will say, like, I think it was a little quick how all this kind of happened. Like, I didn't feel like, when we get to that, if we want to discuss that later, I didn't feel like it was completely earned. How this was just kind of
episode 3. Matt is being one of the incel gladiators that doesn't think the woman is good enough.
Look,
it took 3 episodes. Spartacus got his mark in 2. It took her 3. So
I'm saying, but Spartacus could actually, like, show he could fight.
She has shown that too, because
she's not really.
None of them all. They all suck.
Okay, so is Ashur technically better? Like, would you argue that Ashur is a better gladiator than Chorus?
I don't know about Chorus, because, like, if we're comparing any of these gladiators to the bunch from,
she fought Ashur twice and didn't lay a finger.
That wasn't for her life, though. Like, things get a little different when you have real steel.
So
and that's
you argue it's like, I got lucky. I'm freaking out. I got a lucky hit in, and suddenly, like, I don't know. I just felt like the story of how this all played out was a little quick.
Well, to be fair, that's what the gladiators thought too, because one of the like kid gladiator was like, well, she didn't have a fight on the bridge, and Ashur's like, look, I'm the one that decides who is worthy and who isn't, and I have declared her worthy. And he cites too, she actually, like, drew blood from Korra. She did something that none of you bastards have done yet. She's worthy. It would have been better, in my opinion, though, for her to have, like, the bridge fight.
That was her version of the bridge fight. Is what Ashur is trying to say. And so far, for the way the show is going and how Ashur does things differently, at least to me, this tracks so far. Like, I don't feel like we're going a bridge too far. Again, it would have been different had they brought her in episode 1 and she was already kicking ass and beating the shit out of everybody. But they're clearly establishing that, like, I'm assuming she's going to get to a higher level. as it were. But considering how like
Yeah,
Ashur
well, she's
was the
gonna beat
weakest,
the Ferex brothers,
She
right? I
has
I would
mean,
have.
to.
she's going to beat them.
It would be a mind fuck if, like, episode 5, she fights the Ferrix brothers and she dies. Like, there's
Well
no way
Wow,
that
played,
can
could
you
happen.
imagine
well
that?
played, show. Well played.
Can you imagine that? No, I like the character. Like, I like the idea and the concept of the character. I just felt everything, just like the Gladiators, was really rushed. Like, oh,
Yeah,
we
and
gotta
I
get, we
think
gotta
this
get this.
kind of goes back to Ron's point. Like, Asher didn't really like learn how to be a Lanista from Badiatus, because
Yeah,
I think this is like a step back for Asher in that regard, because clearly the Gladiators wanted wanted Achillia to go through the same fights that they do to earn the mark. Asher's like, no, I'm going to mark her, and then you're going to treat her as one of the boys. And
This
clearly,
could.
that can't imagine that's actually going to work.
But it didn't work with him because this is exactly how he got his mark. He did some like Badiatus had him and Dagon do some shady shit, and there was a third
yeah,
gladiator. I forget his
good
name.
point.
Like I think it was
Yeah,
Tachyon or something like that. But anyway, there were three gladiators. One of them dies, and then they all come back. And because they
Yeah,
completed the task, Badiatus was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to give you your mark." And that
yeah,
honestly, that act probably is the thing that like started the whole Spartacus because if he hadn't done that, Ashur might not have ever gotten made into a gladiator. He might not. All the
yeah.
other events that's probably where the entire show actually starts because that one thing is why Ashur never got accepted, which is the thing that he always wanted, which is why he's actually
Yeah.
better when he's down in the ludus yelling at the gladiators because
But
that's what he always wanted. He
for
wanted to be
his
accepted.
yeah, but you would think for his character, like he would know better. Like, hey, if I just give her this mark, she's gonna go through 10 times worse everything I had to go through with Crixus and everybody thinking I'm just this pathetic piece of shit and I
That's
didn't
not
earn
really
it.
how psychology works. I'm like I don't
people don't learn lessons.
know.
All right, let's move. I would have like Rex. I want to talk about Chorus because he is the star of this episode. But I got to
Yeah,
wrap
for
up all
sure.
these other side plots. So another side plot is Halara again, like the house slave that actually loves Ashur, and Ashur, fights Achillia, comes back in, is very upset that Achillia didn't win, and then goes and fights her again. And so in these moments where Ashur is leaving Achillia, he interacts with Halara and I think the other girl's name is Messia. And at one point, Messia is like, "Hey, Halara, you want to fuck?" And Halara friend zones her,
Friend
much to
zones
yeah,
are
friend
yeah.
zones Messia.
Well, she's telling some deep truth. She's like, well, I would have feelings because Asher gets angry and he yells some shit that even he realizes in the moment, like, I took it too far. I shouldn't have yelled it, but
Yeah.
he doesn't get the chance to apologize.
Because we find out that like Asher actually kind of loves Hilaria in
Yeah,
this.
he
At least
seems to.
he seems to actually love her, and
Yeah,
but he's like, but I'm like she's just a slave, right? And
yeah.
so I
She
have to treat her
starts.
kind of slave, but not really.
She starts offering advice, and he's like, "Did I fucking ask you for your opinion?" Like,
Like you ain't my wife.
yeah. He says that he's like, you're acting like you hold position of wife instead of slave, and so that shuts her down.
And
And
that's
so,
also when he realizes, like, oh
yeah,
fuck, I probably shouldn't have said that.
yeah, and then so that happens during the first time that Asher fights Achillia, but after the second time he fights Achillia, he feels that now Achillia is making progress, so then he comes in and he and Halara make up, and so they
Yeah, they do.
yeah so they
Is that
they
what
go
the
to have
kids call it now?
sex. They go to have
You know what I
sex.
thought, Steve, when that scene went down, when these two beautiful ladies are removing their clothing and going to town on Asher, I thought of a friend of ours, what he said once to us, those girls are healthy. Those girls are very healthy. That was what came to mind. So
Fair.
healthy.
So yeah, so Halara goes to have sex with Asher, and Messia is there, and Messia is like, might as well. And so Messia gets naked, and Messia also jumps in there. But then Halara sends her away. She's like, "Leave us. Go find
Go
wine,
get
and
some
don't come back
wine and
until
wait
summoned."
for us.
And you could tell like this like has destroyed Messia emotionally. But that's where we're at with the love triangle going on in the house.
Yeah, because
Halara
like
is,
you could have made this work. This could have been a nice happy throuple. This could have worked out fine.
No, remember it was the last episode or one of either episode 1 or 2. It's Asher and Hilaria in the bathtub, And then Hilaria is like, "Do you want me to go get Messia to join us?" And he's like, "No, no, no, just you and me, baby, and I'm gonna go down on you," sort of thing. And so, like, but she this time was like, "Get the fuck out."
Yeah, now
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
making calls and
He's
So yeah,
plays.
so Messia loves Hilara. Hilara loves Ashur. Ashur has a soft spot for Hilara at minimum, but does he love her? I don't know. More
No,
to come. But
he
I
loves
feel
the
like we're
other.
giving Asher a lot of credit too. Let's not forget, Asher's not a good guy. The
No,
show has done nothing to make him a good guy. He is still a horrible monster. Like he's just an interesting character. Let us not ever get into the point where we sound like we're saying this Asher guy is all right. He's learned all.
he's a
No,
charismatic villain. He's
yeah,
one of those villains
that's
like
why
he's an
he's so. That's
awful person, but I can't help but root for him.
exactly. It's if you watch Die Hard, you root for Han. We like a smart villain, and Asher is very smart. Like he's fucking up right now, but again,
well,
I
no,
just want.
we'll see how smart he is at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there too. Just a friendly reminder for all the listeners out there: Asher is a monster. he is not a
No.
good person. He's
Sure,
not a good dude.
Asher's a good dude. Ashur 2028.
You know what? Fair. I
Let
vote for
me
him.
talk about all of the other fucking side plots so we can get to the meat of
We're
this episode.
excited about this show, Dad. Let us talk about the
You
show.
can be excited after I finish the
Dad,
summary.
you froze again. God damn it!
What
Continue,
the
Steve.
fuck is wrong
Continue.
with you? So there's also a scene with like all of like the senators' wives, and
Oh.
they're just being awful to one another, but they can't acknowledge that they're acting friendly and laughing and chuckling, but everything they say is just shitting on the person next to them, and the person next to them has to pretend like it's a compliment. And so one person will. So there's Kasudia is the main wife, the wife of Senator Geminius. I don't know the rest of these women, but there's a redheaded woman that comes up to them, and there's three people, Kasudia and two other girls, and then the redhead comes up to them. And as soon as they see the redhead off in the distance, they're like, clouds,
Fuck.
sky. Clearly like they're. But then as soon as they're within range where they can hear each other, suddenly everyone's friends, but they're trading barbs. But they're like, oh, you got to get your husband to work on new grain routes. And he's like, yeah, my husband's doing that. Oh, I didn't know. Well, yeah, it's because your husband's not a senator. And she's like, oh, yes, clearly you're correct. The redhead is like, what does she say? She says,
Talks about the daughter.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
like, your daughter's still in the morning. She ever gonna come out of the house?
Yeah, so she starts shit talking the daughter, but she says something like, "Oh, it's terrible! All of the terrible things that happened to your daughter. Let me go through the list of terrible things and imply that you're such a terrible mom for letting this go on." And then Kasudia is like, "Oh yes, I'll pass on your kind words to my daughter." There's another Kasudia says that her husband and maybe the husbands of the two others are like having a meeting to talk about, I don't know, something important. And the redhead's like, oh, my husband, I didn't know about that. My husband didn't know about that. And Kasudia is like, oh yes, it's because it only involves men of note. And the redhead has to be like, yes, you're correct. Thank you for correcting me. It makes sense. It's that kind of relationship.
We need Rachel to watch this and tell us. Is this what it's like to be a woman and have friends? Is this all that happens? We need Rachel to tell us that. This is horrible.
Give her some homework.
Yeah.
So while this is going on, finally, hero of the episode, Chorus, comes out, and they again, Chorus and Kasudia trade barbs. Kasudia implies that he's still a slave, but Chorus is like, absolutely not. I'm a free man, and of course she can't. You've got to say a nice thing. She's like, oh, such a thing. It left my mind. Basically, like
I just forgot your great duties and deeds.
If you're not a slave now, you're still very slave-like, and I just want you to know that because I'm an evil monster.
Don't forget, her friends are all horny for Chorus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they see him, they're like, "Whoo, boy, look at this."
If only he'd use his mighty weapon on something else.
Yes.
Yes.
Need a gladi Chorus sweat.
But he has also mastered the art of like that thing managers have to do when they're dealing with like a Karen, because she's throwing barbs at him and he's just like, may the day be glorious to you, and she's just getting more pissed off that he's not giving her anything to work with.
Yeah.
I will say, aside from Ashur, he's clearly the best actor.
100%.
In my clearly the best
absolutely.
actor.
Actually, hang on. There's one other fucking plot point I got to get to before we actually talk about this show. Is fucking dense. All right, so we talked about Kasudia. She goes home, and Senator Gabinius, her husband, is having like a he's playing a game with the daughters. They send the daughter away, and then Kasudia talks to Gabinius about like, why are you taking an interest in Ashur? You know, he's Syrian, he's beneath us, and so we
She's
find
got a
out
real hate boner.
she does. She
A
hates.
racist boner. That's
Yeah,
what
she
she
hates
has.
Ashur. But Gabinius lays out his plan. So again, throughout episodes 1 and 2, there's a civil war between Pompey and Crassus brewing, and we haven't actually seen any of that yet. It's what's being talked about in the background. And so Gabinius says, I'm going to leak plans to Ashur of the Senate. We are going to introduce a bill in the Senate to send Pompey away to get, I don't know, Cilician pirates or something. And if Crassus finds this out, well, he's going to leak the plan to Ashur. So he's like, so if Ashur goes running to Crassus and tells Crassus, then we will know that Ashur is absolutely loyal to Crassus. He is useless to us. But
And
if
that
he keeps
Ashur actually has Crassus this year, because right now they're also like, he's probably bullshitting. I don't know how
Yeah.
tight he is with
Yeah.
them.
I feel like I know part of the whole plot line so far in the first 3 episodes is like Crassus is kind of ignoring Ashur, and Ashur's like waiting for word from Crassus about X, Y, and Z. He's just getting some amount of money from him at some point. But I kind of feel like the first 3 episodes are missing Crassus. Like I think Crassus should be here somewhere, or at least show Crassus and Pompey or what they're doing, because it's a little weird that this thing is happening, but we never.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't seen either one of them.
Yeah, the show's not over yet. We're only 3 in. He could show up. Who knows? Continue, Steve.
All right, so the plan is if Ashur takes this information and goes running to Crassus, then we know that Ashur is loyal to Crassus and we're done with him. But if he doesn't tell Crassus, then we can use him. And I thought it was interesting that as far as I could tell, it wasn't like they were going to try to turn Ashur against Crassus and go to Pompey. It was, we will use him to try to stop this war. So I don't think necessarily.
I don't want a civil war. No
Yeah,
one wants a civil war.
Gabinius doesn't. I don't think he really has a side. He just doesn't want these two guys fighting because he knows he has seen Rome and he knows that this is bad for everybody if they start fighting.
Yes. And that's what I mean. It's like I thought it was interesting that Gabinius is going to use Ashur as a pawn, but to something that people would agree is like for the greater good. We're going to stop a civil war. It's not like I'm going to turn Ashur to support Pompey, and then together we're going to take down Crassus.
Yeah, or
Gabinius
do this to steal his great gladiators. Yeah, he's not trying to do it to steal a great gladiator or fuck somebody over. He just doesn't want civil war.
Yeah.
Well, senators wouldn't want civil war because senators lose lots and lots of wealth and property and status when civil wars occur. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's Gabinius's plan. He's going to try to see where Ashur's loyalties lie, and if Ashur can be used to stop the brewing civil war. There's also a scene later where a messenger delivers a message to. It's supposed to go to Gabinius, but Kasudia intercepts it, and she reads it and she burns it. So we'll find out what the message is later on. All right, finally, our boy Chorus, hero of the episode. Chorus has been sent to the pits.
Dun, dun, dun.
He's been when the original Spartacus show started getting good, episode 4, the pit.
Yeah, he got sent to the pit to find a man named Anubis, and he's trying to get grain. Like he's trying to buy grain from Anubis. And so he runs into a couple of people here. They're going to show up later. One is another gladiator. I don't know if he's a gladiator or just another slave that happens to know Chorus, but his name is Fidus, something like that.
It's something with an S, yeah. F, yeah. I have the subtitle. I had subtitles on, yeah, something. Fido, something like that.
Fidus is like, Fido. Okay, we'll call him Fido. Fido is like, hey, Chorus, my good friend Chorus. It's been so long since I've seen you. And Chorus is like, oh, hey, Fido, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And Fido's like, no, come on, man, let's have it. Let's have a drink. Blah blah blah. I'm short on coin. I sure could use a friend that has it. And again, Chorus is like, I don't want to deal with you. I got business. Yeah, leave me alone. And Fido is finally like, sure would be a shame if some of like the secrets that you have that I happen to know were leaked to like important people. And then Chorus is like, oh, you fucking what? And just beats beats him,
Breaks
tells him,
his nose, man.
Yeah,
breaks his
smashes his
nose,
nose
beats
open.
him down, and tells him, like, next time you see me, don't see me. He lets him live. And so so now Chorus is just watching people in the pits. And in comes one of there's like two rival Lanistas. The one that we see here is named Opiter. I don't remember the name of the other one yet. It's the other one is the one
I think
that
the other
like
one's only shown up like for 5 minutes.
he's the one that rolled up to them on the Appian Way in his carriage to shit on.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Polly. God, now
It's
I'm
like
trying to remember what his name is.
Poculus or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
When he actually shows up again, I'll make a point to remember his name. But Opiter is the rival Linista that matters here, and so Opiter goes to Chorus and says, "Hey, fancy seeing you here. What are you doing?" And Chorus is like, "Yeah, I'm here to buy grain from Anubis." And Opiter says, "Oh, Anubis doesn't have any grain. I met him earlier today. He's got nothing. I got lots of grain though. I'm willing to work out a deal with you." And so Chorus is like, "All right." And so they go back to Opiter's house, and Opiter is like Chorus is gay. We haven't talked about it previously; it hasn't been important, but Chorus is gay, and so Opiter is trying to just curry favor with Chorus, and so he puts on a show, and the show is two
gladiators naked wrestling in the rain.
Two naked guys wrestling, and then Opiter claps his hands, and they start fucking. And this is a show for Chorus, and Opiter tells Chorus like all of these senators' wives, including Kosudia, they have no problem crossing the threshold and fucking these gladiators we got here.
Chorus like, really? You don't
like,
say.
What?
No, he's leaning into it.
Good, not good Kosudia. She wouldn't do that.
That bitch. Who else? He goes in real deep for the gossip.
So, like, what Opiter is trying to do is get Chorus to leave Ashur and become the Doctore for Opiter's. I don't even house. I don't even know if he has a
because he's got position in the games, whereas Ashur does not.
Yeah. So, but he wants to steal Chorus away from Ashur and have Chorus come and train Opiter's men, and so they go back and forth, and Chorus is finally like, I got to get out of here. I got to go home. Like, you're still going to give me the grain, right? Like, the only like payment you requested is just my company. And Opiter's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll give you the grain. Hypothetically, if I wanted you to come back again, what would it take? And Chorus says, the games. Like, I want
the evidence. I want evidence of what you're saying is true. You got to give me some slots in the games.
Yeah, he says evidence, and then he says, we want position in the games. And Opiter's like, why the hell would I get... Yeah, Ashur is my rival. Why the hell would I give Ashur position in the games? And Chorus corrects him, and he's like, no, those are my men. I trained them. Like, they're when they do good in the games, that reflects on me. So give my men a chance to shine, and then maybe I might come back and we can further discuss me, being your Doctore.
I might give you a chance to shine.
I can be your daddy Otis.
And so Chorus, that's where they're at. Chorus and Opiter have this agreement. Opiter's going to try to get Ashur's men in the games, but it's not because he gives a shit about Ashur. It's because he's trying to do a favor to Chorus to get Chorus to defact and leave Ashur and join Opiter. But on the way home, Chorus gets attacked by like 6 guys.
Is it blood or coin?
It's a cool scene.
Yeah, it's real cool.
And like moonlight and stuff. It looks rad.
We know what I liked about this fight scene? Not one single goes in for the punch, awkward slow motion is like, CG blood comes out of the... No, this is like, they're like, let's shoot this like it's one long cut. Obviously, it's not a long cut there, but it's the Daredevil fight scene. Like every Daredevil season has that one long fight scene that looks like it's a long cut, but it's not. That's
Yeah.
that's this. That it looks different from every other fight scene that we've ever seen. It's not super stylized. It's just the camera moving while guys are getting fucking stabbed. And I was like, this
What I
this
liked,
looks
Yeah.
what I
this
liked
looks
about
good.
this is Chorus is getting stabbed by people, and he's still going. Like
He
because I
gives
thought,
no fucks.
yeah, because I was like, oh man, they're just gonna
He
obviously
takes a
Chorus.
stab real quick, and I was like, "Oh fuck, he's dead." But he keeps going. I was like, "Is he?" Like,
That one dude like jabs him multiple
yeah.
times, and I'm just
At the
like,
very
is this,
beginning of the fight, he takes one to the back. I know what you're. That's later on, but he takes one to the back. I had the subtitles going, and like when that happened, you heard like metal schlink. Like there was like a thing that metal, like a metal ching. Like the subtitle said like metal chink. I was like, oh, is he wearing armor under that? Did he know this was? No, he is not. So no, he just took several stabs, and just walked it off.
Just
the
shrugged him
boss?
off. So there's a big fight between Chorus and 5 or 6 other guys. The only survivor is Fido. Chorus grabs him, and he's trying to, tell Fido, tell me who fucking sent you. And like they hint that it's the other Lanista, like I don't know,
It's like
portfolio
I
or
was
whatever
sent by
his name is.
somebody else, and it's like who?
Yeah, so they of course thinks it's the other Lanista that's not Operator, whose name starts with a P, but he doesn't get confirmation. But he's about to kill Fido, and then another guy attacks him, and Chorus gouges his eyes out and like just curb stomps him. So Fido runs away, and he finds Kosudia in the shadows, and it turns out
Fucking medicus.
yeah, what I got from this was he was the one that sent the letter that Kosudia burned, because he says, he says, I clear my debt with your husband, and I will take another shot at Chorus, as per the message that I sent to you. And Kosudia slices his throat for a job not well done. So Kosudia is conspiring hardcore now to kill Chorus and Ashur. I think she even says it. I don't remember. I don't know if it was.
She
a scene
says
with her.
if Chorus is the only reason
Yes.
that Ashur has any sway at all. So if
Yeah.
you kill Chorus, his whole house will just collapse.
Absolutely. So Chorus survives this fight, and he goes back home, and he's getting patched up, and he's talking to Ashur, and Ashur's like, so did it work? And Chorus is like, yeah, Operator really thought I was there to talk about grain with Anubis, and then he fell
He spilled everything.
He fell right into our trap. Like he thought I was actually going to like leave you and go work with him. So it's like, so we were talking about Ashur is smart. This whole plot was a plan. Like Chorus went there with like a cover story specifically to lure out Operator and get into Operator's good graces to convince Operator to put Ashur's men in the game. So Ashur is plotting and plotting and plotting. Chorus is smart enough to keep up with his plots as well as being a badass. And then the show ends with the scene where Ashur brands Achilea, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ronan, what did you think?
This really good episode, really strong, really solid. This is one of those where it didn't have like just tons and tons of action, but we did, like I said, we get that one great fight scene of course, and again, it's not filmed like any other fight scene in the entirety of the show. Like the other previous 4 seasons, there's no so it stood out very much because of that. Lacked all the slow motion turning and the weird music in the background. All that music was just like quiet fight in the rain. Like it's so that was great. Like while he was at the other Ludus, I'm sort of like thinking like part of me is like, well, we have Dadiotis we have Gladiator being being the Del Torre currently right now.
You're killing Steve, Ronan. You're killing Steve.
Are we about to do like a hero swap kind of thing? Is Korra about to like switch up? Like, well, Ashur does scheme. Is this Chorus, who cares?
The only one that listens to the words in this show.
We called one dude Fido because we didn't know his name. Look,
you guys wanted to go with Fido.
Steve, this is why the people love this show on YouTube, because we keep it real, right? We don't know what the names of all these people are. It doesn't matter. Just
This is why we got a new season. Is because of this.
We got
Exactly.
4 previous seasons where the word doctore was used. How are we messing that up now?
It's been like 10 years, dude.
For us, we just watched it a year ago.
Well, before I was so rudely interrupted, part of me, I was like, mentally, I'm like, okay, so are we about to get like a hero? Or is there going to be like a swap? Is he going to be like working for the other house now? Like, are we scheming? Because there's lots of scheming in the show. Is that what we're doing? And of course, it's scheming. But they're probably going to set Gladiator up somehow, because like that was if we don't get some kind of a payoff to that, that's going to be weird. But again,
Gladiator's gonna die.
probably,
Gladiator's gonna die, and
probably, but it's going to be
Gladiator's going to.
it's going to be some kind of a moment that rallies the house together. That, or either because it's a Spartacus, it's going to happen, and it's not going to amount to anything, because sometimes the show.
I wonder if Achillea will kill Gladiator, and then that'll set up a conflict between her and Kid Gladiator.
I want her to kill all of the other gladiators.
Yeah.
Well, currently those are the only 3 gladiators that have any remote distinct characteristic between them.
This is what the show needs right now. It needs a
name tags on the gladiators.
Name tags on the gladiators, so that Ronan and I can figure out the names. But also, it needs an episode just dedicated to the gladiators. If they want me to care about any of these people, they need me. I need to see their backstories. I need to see just glimpses of who they are as people. Because right now, like I still 3 episodes in, I don't care about the gladiators at all. I like Achillea. I love Ashur, Chorus. I even like the weird stuff going on with Hilaria and Messina and all of that.
Swing and misses on both those names.
Okay, Hilaria. What's Hilaria? It's not Hilaria.
You're adding an I. It's just Hilara.
Oh, Hilara. Whatever. I like all those characters. But man, the gladiators.
I agree. We need an episode where we get more gladiator focus, but they are not, at least currently, they are not the main character. We've said this before on the last episode. They are not the draws of this show. They are not the main characters of this show. So like they're like, unlike previous shows, they are the supporting cast. They are not the starring cast.
But they gotta assume.
I agree that we need.
They're going to have maybe a season 2. We have to establish these gladiators, because what if we go into season 2?
Maybe, like I said, I agree that we need at least we need at least an episode that has like a lot focused on them.
Right.
Like I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's like they're not the focus of this, so it doesn't. I'm not hugely bothered, but I do also agree that we've said it before. They all suck. If Ashur can walk in there and whoop any of their asses, they all suck. Because he could not have done that in the previous show.
He was crippled. Like he couldn't become a great.
Even when he wasn't, he still couldn't have. There was like nobody. There was not a single actual gladiator he could have beat in the original show. But
I don't want an episode. I don't want an episode dedicated to the gladiators. I want the gladiators to have less screen time in future episodes. I liked it a lot. I loved episodes 1 and 2, and I was still if this episode of all the episodes are out, I would have binge watched it already. I didn't love this one, but I liked it a lot. I was very much like, I need like some action. Like, is this just going to be an episode that sets up future things? And then we got the badass chorus fight scene at the end, which really brought me back into it. I liked it a lot, but it was fucking dense. I think they needed to take some of the plot points in this episode and spread them out a little bit. I fully agree, by the way, with Matt, though, that Achillea got the brand way too soon. There needed to be some sort of test on purpose. I guess I can understand the show is treating her fighting Chorus as the test, but it would have been better, in my opinion, because the Kid Gladiator comes out. He's like, "This is he mouths off to Ashur. He's like, "This is bullshit. She hasn't had the bridge fight. She can't be one of us." It would have been better if they had the bridge fight, and she beat him, and then got the
Yeah,
brand.
because it feels like last episode, right? She gets beat up by Chorus, and then he's like, "Hey, anybody, she drew blood. Anybody who touches her, I'm gonna fucking kill him." Essentially, and you're like, "Oh, okay." So now we're gonna spend the next at least 2, 3 episodes where she's learning how to fight. Like she's actually getting to the point where she could maybe start competing against some of these individuals and get to the point where it's like, okay, she wins in a fair fight against one of these gladiators, which earns the respect of and gets the mark. Instead, like immediately the next episode, Asher's like, I don't give a fuck. Whoever's in the Brotherhood is who I say is in the Brotherhood, and boom, brands her. And I just felt like I need a little bit more time for that storyline to breathe. I like the idea of where the storyline's going. It just felt compressed.
How many
But
episodes is this series? And is there going to be a season? Is it just like a
10, I
one-off
think.
mini series?
No,
Maybe they've got to rush.
Stephen DeKnight said that depending on how successful it is, he's got like 5 seasons planned.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, everybody out there who's watching this show, just keep playing it on repeat over and over on Stars, I guess, to get that view
Yeah,
count
just
up.
open it up in your browser and just keep hitting F5 to
Yeah.
reset it. That's another view.
But there was also something else that I noticed in this when you talked about dense episodes, Steve. There were a couple scenes, and I'm sorry, what is the evil Roman lady's name?
Kasudia.
Codius Casudia. Okay. Her dialogue, like with her husband and with those women, some of those scenes went on way too long, in my
The
opinion.
stuff in the market really could have been
Yeah, but even
shrunk
her
down.
argument with her husband, and I got the
Her
sense
husband
of,
was fed up with this.
yeah, he wanted the scene to end too. He's like, "Shut up, let me out of the scene." But I got the sense as I was watching, and now we love the dialogue and how this show is written, and I know like Stephen DeKnight loves the way they call it Shakespearean and stuff with that. But I started to get the feeling of like they're up their own ass a little bit too much with this dialogue. It's like
Fully
they're going
agree.
on and on and on
There
and on. It's
there
like,
were a couple scenes I had to rewind and watch again to figure out what they were actually trying to imply.
yes,
Well, that's why I
yes,
had to rewatch episode 2 because I was like, we must have missed something. Why the fuck did Asher go
yeah.
to that house? This episode answered that question. I did mention that earlier. How it's like this
Okay, what
episode
was that reason?
answered. Well, like like it was what Steve mentioned too. It's like when when the senator is having his his not quiet whisper fight with his wife about why did you bring that Syrian toad into my house? Like that's why, because he's like, well, I needed to gauge the character of the man. I needed to find out why. Like basically it was everything we were saying earlier about how it's like he's trying to figure out one. Does Asher actually have? Is Asher in Crassus's ear? Does he have his ear? Do they talk on the regular? Are they cool, chill, cash money? And like two, it's like if he is or isn't, that determines how we can use him. If he has his ear, there's nothing we can do with him. If he doesn't, maybe we can use that and we can use him to stop the Civil War. That's why he brought him there. He needed to know about Asher's character. So,
Okay.
and we got that answer, which means that some other stuff, like the scene on the Appian Way, maybe stuff like that can actually pay off down the line. So,
Yeah.
so I kind of feel like letter grading might be a step too far because at first I was
Doesn't
like,
matter.
oh.
We're letter grading it, Ronan. That's what we do on this
Well,
show.
at first I was like, I'm going to
Episode
take my letter grade of episode 2 down because that unanswered question in the Appian Way was memberberry bullshit. But no, it's like that scene actually meant something because now we know. So
doesn't matter. We're still going to letter grade it. So, Ronan, what is your letter grade for episode 3, Unworthy?
I'm still gonna give this a nice solid B plus.
B plus. Okay, Steve, your rating
Yeah,
of this one?
I'm going B. I needed more chorus, less Kasudia arguing with her girlfriends.
Yeah, I think I'll go B minus on this one. I think of all of them because we've all been in B territory, right? Has any? No, you gave an A, Steve.
I
To
gave
the
it,
first
yeah, I gave 1 and
episode.
2 A. I loved episode 1 and
Um,
2.
I felt of the 3 we've watched so far, this was probably the weakest. But maybe just because it was so dense with all of the weird stuff and that they're trying to set up and everything like that. But yeah, but it still had some standout moments. And yeah, I'm excited for episode 4. Like I want to continue seeing what happens in this world, and I want people to go watch it. And in order for people to watch this show and get it popular, so we get a season 2, you need to engage with our video. So leave a comment down below, hit that like button, leave a comment down below for
We
Ronan.
are responsible for this show, and if you don't interact with us, there won't be a season 2. That'll be on
Yes.
you.
Yeah, we want Steven tonight to do his full
Fuckers.
five season arc. So yeah, for sure. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you guys think so far of House of Ashur. Who's your favorite character, your favorite gladiator, whatever. But other than that, Steve, you got any final?
I got nothing else. Looking forward to episode 4.
Sound
All
off in the comments with hashtag Steve's feet. That old man.
Steve's dirty Spartacus feet.